played for the Amazons from 2010 to 2015. That's going to do it for this edition of Geico Sports Night. He's our soccer expert, Chris Williamson. I'm Eamon McEnany. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Jacob deGrom continues to try and burnish his Cy Young credentials. It's been the best show on or off Broadway this year. Struck him out! Struck him out. And he got him swinging. 97 for deGrom. And he strikes out Baez on 3 pitches. The last one at 100. Got him with a changeup. Struck him out. 10 strikeouts for Jacob deGrom.
He is just brilliant.
Cy Young isn't waiting silently. Hello and welcome to Geico Sports Night. I'm Eamon McEnany.
And I'm Chris Williamson. March Madness was in full effect Saturday, and man, you do not want to miss some of the nail-biting games as teams punch their ticket to the Sweet 16. Moving pictures coming your way.
That's right, Chris, and the Islanders were hoping to rediscover their offense in time for Saturday's showdown against the Flyers. We'll have the highlights of that one as well. But we begin with Jacob deGrom still looking to put pen to paper. The Mets ace and his agents told the club before spring training that the deadline to negotiate a contract extension was opening day, and March 28th is obviously rapidly approaching, and there is still no deal. After his outing on Saturday, deGrom was asked how confident he was about working something out before Thursday.
Probably not as. We just have to see. I mean, you see guys signing.
Yeah.
I think I see them too. So, you know, I guess we wait. I said I would like to be a Met long term, so I've really enjoyed playing here, so we'll just have to see where it goes. You know, I'm not going to get in any details of anything, but yeah, I don't know where it's going to go.
We are now joined by SNY's MLB insider Andy Martino. So, Andy, just how justified is Jacob deGrom to be pessimistic about getting an extension worked out by Thursday?
Eamon, I would say that at this point in a negotiation, especially one that could involve as much as, say, $150 million deal, anything that's said publicly should be viewed under the lens of it's part of the negotiation. Jacob deGrom, I'm sure, doesn't just spontaneously say what he says. He knows he's going to be asked. Wouldn't be surprised if he consulted with people on his team. How do you handle this publicly? My understanding is that, and as deGrom himself acknowledged, the sides are still talking, a lot of talking. A lot of meetings on the Mets side, and I'm sure on the CAA agency side, a lot of negotiations. Both sides are being very, very tight-lipped about exactly what the play-by-play of those negotiations are. But I've heard some optimism that there's still a chance that it can get done. Of course, that doesn't mean that it will. Nothing's done until someone is actually signed in a negotiation like this. But deGrom's public stance of somewhat pessimism, I think, is part of the whole process of negotiating here.
Nothing is done until someone signs or until you tweet it. But I guess this could be a one-word answer that rhymes with honey. But what's the biggest reason for the gap between the two sides?
I think you're guessing it, but I can't. Honestly, it would be a little bit of guesswork on my part too, Eamon. I would love to say that I've got every offer and counteroffer in a Google Doc, but I don't. It's really they really have, and this is where the Brody Van Wagenen, of course, is deGrom's former agent, friends with the guys at CAA. This is where I think they're conducting this negotiation effectively under the radar, that they've all agreed not to leak these things. And I've covered these things before where you can get a lot of, here was the offer, here's what's going on. And there isn't a lot of that right now. Now, having said that, a couple of weeks ago, it wasn't hard to report that deGrom was a little bit upset about the lack of an offer at that point. So I'm not hearing right now that anyone's upset, and I'm not hearing how far apart they still are. And to me, those are between the lines good signs that things are okay still, and that there isn't any leakage of negative things, if you know what I mean.
Gotcha. Right now, other teams, though, are handing out extensions like their Tic Tacs. So just how bad are the optics here for Brody and the franchise?
Yeah, they would certainly look better and present a more exciting opening of the season to their fan base if they lock up deGrom. And in my rogue opinion, name him captain of the team. He is the spiritual leader of that team, so why not do what you did for David Wright, make him the captain? And that would be great. That would be a positive story. I guess their hope is, I know their hope is, if they fail to sign him, they can make the case that we've got another shot at this in 12 months. He's not a free agent for 2 more years. It might not be great business to sign him off the Cy Young Award season when he's absolutely at his peak. Those would be the arguments they would try to make. But, of course, most Mets fans would be much more excited to hear about a contract rather than some kind of dissection of the business reasons for no contract, especially, like you said, Eamon, with so many other players right now agreeing to extensions around the league.
So if a deal doesn't get done by Thursday, what steps do you see Jacob deGrom and his reps taking during the regular season?
Well, that's where this gets really interesting because, as we know, he has threatened to restrict his usage. It's basically saying, if you're not going to pay me, give me security for the rest of my life, I've got to protect my health so I can go get it somewhere else in 2 years as a free agent. So the big question is, does Jacob deGrom actually limit his use? Does he tap out if he has to go deep into a game at a certain point? First, I was reporting that he might, and others are reporting that he might do that, and then he went ahead and said it publicly that he might do that. It's not just that. It's does he participate in things the Mets want him to do on a smaller level? Meetings with ticket holders, sponsors, ceremonies on the field, whatever these little things are that teams want you to do, and that deGrom's saying, if you're not going to pay me, maybe I won't be so agreeable to these things. Those are the places this could go if he doesn't get his deal. Or he could agree. They could put out a joint statement and say everything's fine, we'll talk in a year. Fascinating next couple of days to see how this plays out.
And the clock is definitely ticking. Andy Martino, our SNY MLB insider, thanks for joining us here on Geico Sports Night.
Thanks, Eamon.
So the waiting game continues as deGrom wonders when his payday will finally come, and the ace took out his frustrations on the Braves. Flashing his Cy Young form, he strikes out the side to cap up 3 perfect innings, 5 Ks overall as deGrom departs with a 1-0 lead. Now a 2-0 game in the 5th. Pete Alonso continues to grab the first base job by the throat, and he's not letting go. The RBI double, part of his 3-for-5 day. Mets take a 3-0 lead. Now 4-0 later in the inning. The Mets inform Devin Mesoraco that he will not make the big league roster, which means Thomas Nido is sticking around. His RBI single, part of a 6-run frame for the Mets. They go on to win 12-2, and Med Rosario had 3 hits and 3 RBIs. From the Mets going out Saturday with a bang to March Madness, providing a lot more sizzle to the second round. See, the first round didn't give us a lot of last-second drama, but on Saturday, fans were on the edge of their seats for the early games. One of the good ones, Kentucky's P.J. Washington-less Wildcats facing sharpshooter Fletcher McGee and Wofford. Second round of the Midwest region. Number 2 Kentucky versus number 7 Wofford. Wildcats up by 3 with 5 minutes to go. Tyler Hero pump fakes and hits the top 3 to give the Wildcats a 6-point lead. Less than a minute to go with Wofford down by 4. Storm Murphy misses the layup, but Kevin Aluma tips it him to make it a 2-point game. Time running out for Wofford. Down 4. Fletcher McGee misses the 3. The sharpshooter was far from sharp Saturday, 0 for 12 for 3-point range. Kentucky wins 62-56 and advances to the Sweet 16. A pretty sweated out game for Coach Calipari.
We got it going at half, and then they never went away. I thought there were chances. We got up 8. We just couldn't get the lead anymore. The way they shoot threes, they're just dangerous, and they change how you have to play defensively. They made us play the way they played. Give them credit. And if they hit a normal amount of threes, they probably beat us. You know, thank goodness they didn't.
East Region, 6-seed Maryland versus 3-seed LSU. 30 seconds to go. Terps down 3. The pass goes to Jalen Smith in the corner. Bucket. Game tied at 67, people. Now 8 seconds to go. Tremont Waters up top. Takes it himself. Gets the scoop off the glass to give the Tigers the lead. 1.6 seconds left. No timeouts for Maryland. Eric Ayala heaves the shot, and it's no good. LSU wins 69-67. Now, the whole nation wanted to see Ja Morant put on another show against Florida State. He did, dropping 28. Only problem was he was the only show for Murray State. Florida State obliterated the Racers 90-62. The Seminoles shot 50% from the field and 40 from 3. Here's Morant now on losing and playing in likely his final college game.
I was just hurt, not being able to take the floor with these guys for the rest of the season for another game or possibly 2, 3, 4. But it's been a great season. I really was just thinking back on what all we have accomplished this year, and I say I was more hurt by not being able to play with these guys for the remainder of the season.
Up next for Florida State is Gonzaga. The top seed in the West took care of ninth-seeded Baylor 83-71. Junior Brandon Clark went off for 36, and he didn't take 1 3. He was 15 of 18 from the field. Here's Clark on getting a career high in the big dance.
I just felt like I was just, really locked in and focused tonight. So, if it wasn't me, it was somebody else on the team making a big shot too. So, it's just like hats off to my teammates really. And, I just felt like I was really focused tonight. So the shots felt easy tonight.
We have just teed off on this edition of Sports Night. There was no stage fright for Zion Williamson in his first NCAA tournament game on Friday, and we'll preview Duke's matchup with UCF. Plus, the Connecticut women took the first step towards a 12th straight Final Four in the first round. We'll go one-on-one with Gino Auriemma for more on the Huskies showdown with Buffalo. And the Islanders had been blanked in 2 straight losses. Would they be able to find the back of the net in Philly? We'll have the answer when Sports Night continues only on SNY.
Geico Sports Night is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
That rocking chair would look great in our new house.
Oh, a new house, eh? Well, you should definitely see how Geico could help you save on homeowners insurance.
Nice tip. I'll give you $2 for the chair.
2? That's a Victorian antique.
All right. How much for the recliner, then?
Wait. How did that get out here? That is definitely not for sale.
Is this a yard sale?
If it's in the yard, then it's for sale.
Here we go.
Geico. It's easy to switch and save on homeowners and renters insurance.
Update your floors with Empire Today's $50 room sale. Buy one room, get floors for all other rooms for just $50 each. So when you buy one room, it's only $50 for laminate in the kitchen, $50 for carpet in the bedroom, and $50 for hardwood in the office. There's no limit. Buy one room and it's $50 for floors in each additional room. Schedule now.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today. Wherever you go, however you go, for energy on the go, it's gotta be 5-Hour Energy. And with 0 sugar and 4 calories, there's nothing holding you back. Works fast, works long, tastes good. 5-Hour Energy. Energy on the go.
3 new Nissans, 2 powerful Titans, 1 award-winning lineup. Save big on all of it at Nissan now. No brand received more J.D. Power Initial Quality Awards for cars and trucks than Nissan. Save big on Rogue with Safety Shield 360. Hurry in and experience why more people are loving Nissan now.
Get a low $179 per month lease on the 2019 Rogue Sport or lease Sentra, just $129 per month.
Get to Nissan now.
My money should work as hard as I do. So I use my Freedom Unlimited card to buy all the latest tech stuff. Today, I'm earning on a charger.
So just the charger then?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Earn 1.5% cash back on everything you buy with Freedom Unlimited. Chase, make more of what's yours.
SNY.TV. All things New York sports. All on one site with easy access to up-to-the-minute news on all of your favorite New York area teams. Only on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports.
Islanders at Flyers. Islanders entering the game 3 points behind the Capitals in the Metro Division. Second period. Game tied at 1. Matt Barzal passes to Nick Leddy, who one-times it into the net. Leddy's 4th goal of the season. Islanders lead 2-1. Third period. It's now tied with 4 minutes to go. Josh Bailey with the puck. He shoots it into the upper corner to give the Islanders the lead. Another look. Bailey sends it over Carter Hart's shoulder. The captain, Anders Lee, is pumped up 3-2 New York. Soon later, same score. Leo Komarov passes it back to Bailey. He fires it into the net. A nice pass leads to Bailey's 2nd goal within 2 minutes. He has 16 goals on the season. Islanders win 4-2 and are now 1 point behind Washington. Barry Trotz, how you feeling?
from our standpoint, we just talked about the process of enjoying what we're in right now. We're in a playoff hunt, and we're playing good teams that are desperate, and sort of embrace that. Don't worry about the outcome, because when you think about the what ifs, you really don't enjoy the moment. So we're just trying to enjoy the moment, and that's what I thought we did today.
Let's head to Toronto. Rangers looking to snap a 5-game losing streak. We had to wait until the third period for the game's first goal, and it comes off the stick of Pavel Buchnevich. Just 19 seconds in, Rangers take a 1-0 lead. But later in the period, the Leafs draw even. Check out number 91, John Tavares, enter your screen, and he makes a brilliant pass for Zach Hyman, who buries it. This game would eventually go to overtime, tied at 1. In overtime, a save by Alexander Georgiev springs a 2-on-1 break for the Rangers. Frederik Andersen then comes up with a huge save on Boo Nieves, but he stays on the puck and finds Ryan Strome for the game-winning goal. 3 cheers for Boo as his effort gives the Rangers a 2-1 overtime win, snapping their 5-game losing skid. To women's hoops now, and what did Gino Auriemma get for his 65th birthday Saturday? A grueling practice with his second-seeded UConn Huskies.
That's right, Eamon. The 11-time national champ didn't have an off day for his big day. His team's getting ready to prepare for Buffalo Sunday in the second round. Our Maria Marino caught up with him to discuss that and much more.
Coach, inserting Katie Lou for the first time in 3 weeks, what did you see from your offense on Friday?
Well, whether Lou makes any shots or she doesn't make any shots, the presence that she gives us out there, with the threat that she's going to shoot, with the fact that she's such a good passer, she's going to help us rebounding. Just having her out there, I think, is a real sense of comfort, to the young players anyway. So we wanted to play her yesterday for as long as we could, give her a chance to get back into this game swing of things, and she did.
Looking ahead to Sunday, what can you say about this Buffalo program, and what does your team need to sharpen up?
At this time of the year, you really don't get much better. You don't all of a sudden become something you weren't during the regular season. So for Sunday, it's more of what's Buffalo really, really good at. How do we take away their strengths? What are some of the things that we didn't like about the Towson game, that we have to address? And you have one day to do it. So that's pretty much the emphasis this time of year.
Coach, thank you. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Back to spring training. Yankees hosting the Blue Jays. Bottom of the first, Gleyber Torres up with 2 men on, facing Trent Thornton, and he unloads. A 3-run home run to left. His 4th of the spring. Yankees take a 3-0 lead. Masahiro Tanaka on the mound for the Bombers, top of the second, facing Justin Smoke, and he strikes him out swinging. The line for Tanaka, 2 innings, no runs, 1 hit, 3 Ks, and no walks. Gio Gonzalez making his Yankees debut, top of the 6th. Gonzalez gives up the 2-run home run to Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Gonzalez would give up 3 more runs in the 7th inning, not the debut he and the Yankees wanted to see. 2 innings, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, and 4 hits. Yankees go on to lose 7-3.
Up next, Jay Wright and Villanova have been razor sharp in their last 15 tournament games. 14-1 overall, but with their success in against a red-hot Purdue team, we'll have the answer in just a bit. Plus, Buffalo goes for history on Sunday when they face Texas Tech. The Bulls can make the Sweet 16 for the first time in program history. We'll hear from the fellas at their big showdown when Geico Sports Night returns.
When you're in a car or motorcycle crash, the insurance company is interested in just 2 things: getting you to settle quick and cheap. That's what they do. And no matter how cute their little gecko is or how nice their paid actor sounds, they're not your neighbor and you're not in good hands. I'm Keith Trantolo, and the last thing they want is for you to call me, because I'll make them pay you a lot more than they want to. Call Trantolo and Trantolo and let our family help your family.
Tired of the winter blues? Need a break from your daily grind? Ready to press pause and make time for you? Escape to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and let the calming surf, soft sand, and warm sun do the work. With amazing deals all along the coast, it's the perfect time for a seaside getaway. So make time for you. Visit Myrtle Beach, where happiness comes in waves.
Wireless for 15 bucks a month. That's not right.
It's right, all right. Now, finger dipping?
That's not right.
Kind of like your wireless bill. Get Mint Mobile for just 15 bucks a month at mintmobile.com.
I'm feeling good.
Make the most of your business card with Vistaprint.
I'm feeling good.
500 standard cards start at just $9.99 with code BC Now.
I'm feeling good.
Own the now with Vistaprint.
A truly historic season. Determination. Full year, 1.7 ERA. An absolute master. Domination.
Excellent.
The masterful Jacob deGrom. Come celebrate the 2018 National League Cy Young Award winner, April 7th. The first 25,000 fans will receive their own Cy Young Award, the Jacob deGrom Cy Young Bobblehead. Purchase tickets at Mets.com/tickets.
We switched.
I switched to Chevy.
I switched to Chevy.
We switched to Chevy.
I switched from a Ram to a Chevy.
See why people are switching to Chevy.
We love our Chevy. Why do we switch? Just look at it.
Switch into a new Chevy today. Current qualified competitive lessees can lease this Equinox for around $179 a month. Or current competitive owners get 21% below MSRP when you purchase and finance with GM Financial.
The storylines that have the New York sports culture buzzing through the lens of social media reaction. The Thread, presented by Citi, premieres Thursday, March 28th at 5 p.m. only at SNY.
And there will be no repeat. In the South, defending champion Villanova was eliminated by third-seeded Purdue, and it wasn't even close. Carson Edwards lit up Nova for 42, hitting 9 threes as the Boilermakers dominated the champs 87-61. Purdue gets the winner of Sunday's Iowa-Tennessee game. Edwards joins a small group of guards scoring 40 or more in the tournament in the last 20 years. The only other guards to do that, Steph Curry. You might have heard of him. He did it against Gonzaga. And if Alex Halter's producing Sports Night, we have to find a way to get Syracuse in somehow. Jerry McNamara tore up BYU 15 years ago. Now, not all is lost for Nova fans. Recent history shows that Jay Wright and company know how to bounce back from being eliminated in the second round. 15 they lost, 16 they cut down the nets, 17, 18, same thing. So who knows what's going to happen in 20. In the East region, the all Big Ten battle between Michigan State and Minnesota wasn't much of a battle at all. As the Spartans rolled 70-50, Xavier Tillman had 14, and Cassius Winston went for 13 while handing out 9 assists. Tom Izzo's club gets third-seeded LSU next.
I'm really proud of these guys for what they accomplished. We just played 5 games in 8 days, and it took a toll on some of us. There were some stretches where we were good and bad. And we were sloppy, but, man, it was another championship weekend for us, and we move on to the next one, and I can't tell you how excited I am about that.
Thanks to Zion Williamson's big night Friday. Duke is getting ready for a showdown with 9-seed UCF Sunday in the East region. The likely future #1 pick, Zion, dropped 25 Friday on 16 shots. Coach K is so glad to have such a gifted player on his team with a Sweet 16 berth on the line.
God is good, and God gave him extraordinary ability, but also extraordinary intelligence on how to use the ability and a work ethic to blend the two.
If you're third seed Texas Tech, you got to be preparing extra hard for 6th seed Buffalo. The MAC champs no longer are a Cinderella story and showed that in their convincing win over ASU. Sunday, the Bulls can head to the Sweet 16 for the first time in program history with the win, and they bring a lot more confidence into this game than years prior.
I think our guys are a little bit more mature. Last year, we were just really excited to get that first win in school history in the NCAA tournament. This year, we'd already won last year. We were expected to win. We were the favored team. So I think our guys are a little bit more locked in, which we're going to need to be because Texas Tech's unbelievably good. They're hard to score on, and we've got our hands full.
But wait, there's more. We find out the second 8 teams of the Sweet 16 Sunday. It starts with Iowa looking to keep the Big Ten strong tournament going against Tennessee. Then the ACC powerhouses take center stage, while Buffalo, who we just heard from, looks to knock off Texas Tech. We're not done yet here on Sports Night. Still ahead, we'll wrap up the show with more baseball news as the Mets bring back a familiar face.
That's right, Aim. And plus, the Devils have been in a funk lately at home, 5 straight losses. But wait until you see how New Jersey snapped that streak Saturday. Highlights right here after the break.
Geico Sports Night is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
Choosing my car insurance was the easiest decision ever. I switched to Geico and saved hundreds. That's a win. But it's not the only reason I switched. Geico's a company I can trust, with over 75 years of great savings and service. Now that's a win-win.
Switch to Geico. It's a win-win.
Oh, hey. Buying a car from Vroom is so easy. All you need is a phone and a finger. Just scroll through amazing hand-picked low-mileage cars, then tap to buy. That's it. No sales speak, no wasted time. Just straight-up great cars, each with its own Carfax. Right from your phone to your driveway. Thousands of cars priced below market value. Go to Vroom.com and pick your favorite. Oh, yeah, she digs it.
You went to college, you're smart. So why are you getting ripped off on your student loans? At Credible.com, we've helped tens of thousands of people save money by refinancing their student loans. In 3 minutes, we'll get you actual rates from multiple lenders. We could save you hundreds of dollars a month by refinancing to a lower rate. Don't get ripped off on your student loans. Let's focus on your future, not your debt.
Visit Credible.com and in 3 minutes, see how much you could save.
Can we get strawberries? Okay.
All things New York sports, all on one site, only on SNY.TV.
More hockey. Pavel Zacha and the Devils in action at the Rock. Hosting Arizona, Coyotes grab the early lead, but Drew Stafford ties things up with his 4th goal of the season. It's 1-1 in the first, and it would stay that way for quite some time. How long, you ask? How about into round 6 of a shootout? That's when Zacha snaps a 1-1 deadlock by going 5-hole past Darcy Kemper, and now it's up to Mackenzie Blackwood, looking to stop Richard Panik to seal the win, and Mackenzie's going to kiss that goalpost. Panik catches iron, and the Devils finally catch a break. They snap a 5-game home winless skid, 2-1 the final over Arizona in a shootout.
Who wants to see some soccer? Red Bulls taking on Orlando City. New York looking to stay undefeated in the MLS season. 73rd minute, no score. Orlando possession. The ball centered to Sasha Kleshkin. He shoots it past Luis Robles. The former Red Bull captain makes it 1-0 Orlando City. 3 minutes later, off the New York free kick, Danny Royer with the header. Carlos Asquez with the clear at the goal line to save it. Take a couple looks. Tremendous play where it was so close to tying the game up. Asquez denies him with a bicycle kick before the ball crosses the line. Red Bulls lose 1-0. Robles unhappy after the match. It's the first regular season home loss for New York since July 28. Yankees reliever Philip Deal thought it was a prank when Aaron Boone told him Saturday, quote, "We're trading you," end quote. Theo couldn't believe it, especially after he took CC Sabathia's spot in one of the team's barber's chairs. But no, the Bombers indeed traded him to the Rockies for an outfielder.
Just like you thought it was a prank when they told you had to do all the soccer highlights here on Sports Night. That's right. Not a prank. You do. All right, back to the Mets. The club announced they signed Ruben Tejada to a minor league deal. The shortstop, of course, played for the Amazons from 2010 to 2015. That's going to do it for this edition of Geico Sports Night. He's Chris Williamson. I'm Eamon McEnany. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your weekend.